Hello, I'm Beck. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be drawing a D&D character based on the roll of the dice.
Let's bring out the Tower of Destiny!
Now we have a Dragonborn Fighter, and we have done Dragonborn pretty recently, but I'll go over what it is in case this is your first video watching or if you don't remember what I said last time. So Dragonborn are basically like dragonoid humans. Last time I kind of blanked on part of the official description in which it says that they look very much like dragons, standing erect in human form, though they lack wings or a tail. So in the previous Dragonborn I did give him a tail. This one will not have a tail because I remembered my mistake and have learned from it. Ding! It also says that the first Dragonborns had scales of vibrant hues matching colours of their dragon kin, but generations of interbreeding have created a more uniform appearance. But it goes on to describe that they can come in any of the colours that dragons come in, so that's a little bit confusing. I decided to make this one a green dragon, which I think means that he has poison as his damage type. That basically means when you're a Dragonborn, I'm skipping ahead, but you can keep up, you're smart. When you're a Dragonborn, you have something called Draconic Ancestry, which means that you have a breath weapon, and the type of damage that breath weapon can do is determined by the type of dragon that you're related to. So if you're related to a red dragon, for example, your breath weapon is fire damage. Green is poison, so it would be a poison damage, kind of more of a spitting situation, like the little ones in Jurassic Park. You know the ones I mean. You also, as a Dragonborn, have, well, the Draconic, the breath weapon, damage resistance. You have resistance to the damage type associated with your Draconic ancestry, which means this one has resistance to poison damage, which is pretty handy because unlike some of the other damages, like say bronze dragons have lightning damage, I don't think if you're struck with lightning damage, that doesn't keep causing you damage on turns after that in combat. Whereas if you are on fire, you continue to take damage on each of your turns until you're no longer on fire. With poison, that's kind of the worst one, because if you get poisoned during battle, I don't think healing potions even, like I think you need to have something that cures poison in order to stop taking poison damage or take a long rest. So you're basically just poisoned for the rest of battle. If that's not correct, someone correct me, but that's how I understand poison works during combat. And that's how it's worked in my games thus far, although admittedly it hasn't really come up very often. The languages you speak are common and Draconic, and then you have a lot of the other standard traits that include your walking speed being 30 feet. Your size is that you are tall compared to humans, but not ridiculously so. So you're taller and heavier than humans, standing well over 6 feet tall and averaging almost 250 pounds. Your size is medium. As a fighter, as a Dragonborn fighter, I don't think we've done fighters as, I think partially I haven't been very excited to draw fighters because they're barbarians and other fighting class types. If you're drawing them, they kind of look very similar, because when you're a fighter you do a lot of the same poses, you have a lot of the same kind of weapons, so it's sort of hard to depict visually what the difference is. A fighter, unlike say a barbarian. Barbarians use rage to fuel their attacks, and monks are also fighters, but they really channel sort of energy into it's almost like a magic fighting thing. A fighter is just your standard fighter. They could be a knight, they could be a gladiator, they could be just like a hired goon. Whatever they do, they specialize in all forms of combat. Some of your default equipment includes the option of having 2 hand axes, which is what I decided this character would have. They usually are wearing armor. They're proficient in all sorts of armor. And yeah, proficient in all armor and shields. They are proficient in simple weapons and martial weapons. And you can choose fighting styles that specialize your fighting style even more. So you can choose like archery, defense, dueling, great weapon fighting, protection fighting, 2-weapon fighting. I think in this character, because I did give them the 2 hand axes, that it would be 2-weapon fighting. You also have second wind. You have a limited well of stamina you can draw on to protect yourself from harm. On your turn, you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighting level. And once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. At level 2, you get something called Action Surge. Action Surge. I can say words. Starting second level, you can push yourself beyond your normal limits for a moment. On your turn, you can take 1 additional action. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. At 17th level, you can use it twice before a rest, but only once on the same turn. There are so many more things that you get, but a lot of them are at sort of higher levels, so I won't go into that right now. Pretty impressive stuff, and all of it has to do with dominating during combat. So this one, probably not the greatest class to choose if you're playing a game that's heavily role-based with only a little bit of combat, because, I mean, when you are playing role-based, you can add a little bit of flavor to whatever your character is, but they won't be particularly useful in, like, any kind of role that's outside of fighting, basically. And you can probably pick fights, though, so you can initiate combat and see if everyone enjoys that. The subclass of fighter is called martial archetypes, and the options I'm seeing here are Battlemaster, Champion, Eldritch Knight, Psy Warrior, Rune Knight, or Gunslinger. And I bet Gunslinger is like a homebrew by Critical Role one, so it's on the D&D Beyond website, but they have a disclaimer saying that it's not a Wizards of the Coast invention. But it's obviously been adopted by it because enough people wanted to see it on there. I think this one would just be like a champion kind of one, just like your standard fighter. So a champion is the kind of gladiator style vibe that you can imagine. You know what I'm talking about. So the main thing that you get as champion is called Improved Critical. Beginning when you choose this archetype at the 3rd level, your weapon attacks score a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. So usually a critical roll is 20. You've got a natural 20, and that means that you get double the damage on your attack. In this case, if you get a 19 or a 20, it's counted as critical, so you get double the damage on either of those, which is handy. The next sort of levels where you get something cool as a result of being champion doesn't start until you're at like 7th level, which, well, I've never gotten to it. I act like it's really impossible to get to it. It depends how like liberal your DM is with leveling people up. If you're on, what's it called? Not the points-based one, the one that most people play with. I'll think of it later and I'll put it on the screen because I can't be bothered Googling it right now. I'm such a professional. Anyway, looking at the stats, we can see that this guy had... Oh, what's his name? Let's call him Jeremy. We can see that Jeremy has a +2 to strength, so he's pretty strong. That's not surprising, given that he would have probably grown up fighting and developed a real passion for it, and then found someone to train him, which is a pretty standard thing for a fighter. They learn from somebody to basically elevate themselves above any other general level of fighter. So, for example, in the guidebooks, it will talk about how you might have a fighter who's a guard. That doesn't mean that all of the guards are very proficient fighters in the way that this class of character is. It means that they are uniquely trained and just like they stand out above the rest. So they might not have a higher rank, but they are clearly the best guard because they're the best at fighting. That kind of thing. So +2 to strength, +1 to dexterity. So I think this guy is pretty good at sneaking up behind someone and getting like a sneak attack in if needed. And just generally very handy, being able to do some handy stuff. The -1 to constitution is interesting. I guess I would say that this translates into the kind of fighter who he likes to get the job done quickly. The longer he's fighting, the worse his performance will be. So he doesn't have that constitution that stops him from getting weary if he's been, you know, very active for a very long amount of time. He's more the like, go in with everything you've got kind of guy. Intelligence is -2, so he's very much not interested in memorizing anything. He doesn't bother to memorize maps, he doesn't read the books, he's just like, he's a very physical being, and he just doesn't see the value in any of that sort of intelligence-based stuff, and probably as a result it might get him into trouble because he wouldn't remember if there's any political history involved in who he's talking to or things he maybe should or shouldn't be saying. And that sort of goes into his average wisdom, where he can probably figure out if someone's angry at him. Like, he can read general emotions. He's got that average level. He can't necessarily tell if someone's lying to him unless they're being a little bit obvious about it. He also, like, I don't know how much he necessarily cares if he offends people, because the +2 charisma, I don't think this means he's a charming guy. I think it means he's an intimidating guy. So whether he's intending to offend someone or not, once they are offended, I think he really leans into it and will challenge them to a fight, and basically just, he enjoys it. Like, he thinks it's funny when other people are angry and upset. So he's probably not the greatest guy in the world. You probably wouldn't love to hang around with this guy. But he could be a very fun character to play. And he's obviously survived this long being a jerk. So, decent fighter. I think in terms of call to adventure, he'd go with any party who seemed like they were going to have fun and like knock a few heads together. I don't think he's particularly complex in needing some motivation to join an adventuring party. Yeah. I could go further into his character, but I do want to I was trying to work with perspective in this drawing, so I just want to address the arm. Like, I think I did okay with the legs, like the closer foot is bigger and the further away foot is smaller. But with the arms, I think I kind of stuffed, I don't know what it is. The back arm, it doesn't look like it's going further away, which it's supposed to. It just looks like he's got a weird little arm. And I think maybe the issue is that, like, you wouldn't see as much of the arm. It should be more of a, like, you just see the sort of butt of the hand and not so much of the length of the arm. Whatever, it's something I'm going to work on. But I hope you like Jeremy. He seems fun, and he's kind of a cool guy. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Hope you had a really great week, and hope you have a really great week coming up. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.